Alhamdulillah, the time that we've all been waiting for is now here. And it was a very big problem for me to think how to introduce my sheikh, to the audience. And it's trembling me a lot. Even now, I'm actually quite scared. And then I thought of Miya Sahib, Rumia Kashmir, Rahmatullah Ta'ala alayhi, and how to praise his murshid, he wrote a poem. So I too tried to jot down a few verses. Bearing in mind that I'm only 22 and my sheikh is into his late 70s, so this is only a few of his accomplishments that I know of. How many they are, Allahu Alim. Mufakkir-e-Islam, Mufassir-e-Quran, Pir Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani, the blood of Hassan and Hussain, the grandson of Mehboob Subhani. History is a witness to the fact since my sheikh has started preaching, influence of the wrong sects have steadily been decreasing. Be it the Kafir Qadiani sect or the Mufti of the Saudi government, Ya Sheikh, you stood up for the Haqq and took no other settlement. You then blessed Britain with your great and pious presence, bringing back Ahl Sunnah status to complete elegance. Munazara upon munazara, you strengthened the status of us Sunnis Iman by proving from the Quran itself the correct way to Ar-Rahman is Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat. Ya Sheikh, were it not for you, Milad Mustafa would never be a public function. Ya Sheikh, if it was not for you, Ya Nabi, Ya Ali, Ya Ghost would never be heard again until the day of resurrection. I remember myself on the remarks of Pope Saab, the Muslim world was silent. However, it was only you who challenged him and stood defiant. People amongst themselves have chose what Sahabi is superior and who are the truthful. Yet just your first book and your 5 ayats of Haqq Sabiyar, they can have no rebuttal. Recently, the Secretary of State had to set a precedent by banning the EDO's demonstration. This was due to the MP shock at how many Muslims are willing to counter-demonstrate by my Sheikh's simple invitation. Ya Sheikh, it is solely due to your hard work and efforts and preaching. The love for Ahlul Bayt and Sahaba are both in Sunni's heart beating. O haters who disrespect the blood of my Nabi, listen attentively to Mian Shahzad's advice. Do tawbah whilst you still have time, or you too will be involved in paying Yazid's price. Mufakkir-e-Islam, Mufassir-e-Quran, Pir Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani, the blood of Hassan and Hussain, the grandson of Mehboob Subhani. Without further ado, it gives me pride and privilege to call upon the current successor of Ghawsul Azam, the one they call Imam Ahl Sunnat, Haqq Sadaqat ki Nishani, Pir Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani.
Respectable ladies and gentlemen, I am here to deliver my lecture on the topic of Ahl Bayt Athhar, Ashab al-Tathhir, and offspring of Nabi Kareem ﷺ. And I shall try my best to complete my lecture within 1 hour, because at 8:30 we are supposed to leave the hall. So I shall try my best to accomplish my subject within 1 hour. Quran says, "Innama yuridullahu liyudhhiba ankum ar-rijsa ahlal bayti wa yutahhirakum tathhira." It is only Allah's will to keep the sins away from you, O inhabitant of the house of Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam, wa yutahhirakum tathhira, and He has intended to purify you up to the standard. So this is verse of Surah number 33, Surah Ahzab. Here Quran says, it is only Allah's will to purify Ahl Bayt Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ahl Bayt are of many kinds, as Allama Sayyid Abdul Hussain Shah Gilani has already explained. So there is no need to repeat the same subject. So they are different classes of Ahl Bayt Rasul with different dignities. Today especially the martyrdom of Imam Hussain is a main target of the expression. Hazrat Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was the second son of Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Sayyida Fatima. Sayyida Fatima and Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, both of them are really purified, because Hazrat Ali radiyallahu ta'ala was born inside of Kaaba Sharif, and he did not dirty Kaaba Sharif, because he himself was purified. Quran was going to express the ideology of their purity. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Therefore, at the time of parturition, no blood was seen inside of Kaaba Sharif, because Hazrat Haidar Qarar was a purified person, and he came out of the womb of mother in case of purity and sanctity. This is why Kaaba was not polluted, was not dirtied. And Sayyidah Fatima was born to Nabi Karim Alayhisalam before the promulgation of the prophethood. She was the last and final daughter of Nabi Karim Alayhisalam from Hazrat Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra. Khadija al-Kubra was the first Muslim to embrace Islam. And this is only one example in the world which can be exemplified, that a wife embraced Islam and recited Kalima and recognized the prophethood of her husband. Otherwise, wives are ready to accept the bravery of the husband, the beauty of the husband, the generosity of the husband, but they are not ready to accept their husband as a reverent person, as a holy person. But Sayyidah Khadija Kubra was the first person to believe her husband as a holy person. But she suggested, "O my holy Prophet, nothing is to be worried about, because these are the sign of prophethood you have seen. And when I got married with you, I was believing that you are going to be declared as a prophet of Allah sooner or later. So I firmly believe that you are prophet of Allah, and I am the first Muslim to embrace your Islam." So this is an example which cannot be found in the prophetic life of the prophets. No prophet was there whose wife accepted his religion in the first instance. Only Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra was there. It means that from both of the side, Imam Hussain was very purified person. His grandmother was Hazrat Khadija al-Kubra, the first Muslim. The first Muslim is also a status, because as-sabiqun al-awwalun. This is the expression containing the subject of the sentence and predicate of the sentence. Means as-sabiqun, as-sabiqun. Means the earlier Muslims, the first Muslims are first in the dignity, in the status as well. Sayyidah Khadija Kubra was the first Muslim. Therefore, according to a vast majority of dialectical theologians, they believe that Hazrat Sayyidah Khadija Kubra is preferable and superior to everybody reciting Kalma Sharif of Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, including the total caliphs, including the total paradisiacal Muslims, Ashra Mubashara and Hazreen Badr, and all of the companions of the Holy Prophet, and all of the persons who visited Nabi Karim Alayhisalam in the life and passed on that very belief. Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra was superior to everybody of Muslim. So Sayyidah Fatima, when Sayyidah Fatima was born, no blood was seen at the time of birth of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. The parturition of Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra was so beautiful, so nice, and so sanctified and so purified that there was no a drop of blood there. So this is an example which cannot be exemplified in the life of any person in the world. Hazrat Ali was born inside of Kaaba Sharif, and Fatima was born in house of Nabi Karim Alayhisalam, but there was no blood with Hazrat Ali, neither with Hazrat Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain were born to this couple, Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Sayyidah Fatima. And this is a practical proof of their purity. وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. And Allah wants you to be purified according to the standard. And you are measureless people in the purity and in the sanctity. Hazrat Imam Hussain was second son of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and he was born in Medina Tayyibah in month of Shaban, the 8th month of Islamic calendar. Imam Hussain was born in Shaban in Medina Tayyiba, but no blood was seen on his body. So much so that Sayyida Fatima took the bath at the same times and did the prayer. No prayer of Sayyida Fatima was missed for whole of the life of Sayyida Fatima. She was so punctual, so steadfast, and so regular that even one single prayer of Sayyida Fatima was not missed by her. Imam Hussain was born to Sayyida Fatima. Sayyida Fatima was a beautiful and reverend and sanctified lady that Nabi Karim ﷺ would stand up to pay the respect to Sayyida Fatima. Nabi Karim ﷺ never stood up as a respect to any prophet, to any companion, to any chief or any uncle of himself. But Nabi Karim ﷺ would stand up to pay the respect to Sayyida Fatima. So this was mentioned in Sunan Abi Dawood. And I am not going to refer to Albani. Albani was a Jew by birth. Originally he was Jew. He embraced Islam, but he doing the same job which was done by his forefathers. He is enemy of Muslims and Islam. He always tried to damage the traditions, referring to Hazrat Haider Karar, referring to Panjtan Pak. So these are Panjtan Pak who were a real source of the pardon of Hazrat Adam Alayhisalam. Adam Alayhisalam was accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he showed the virtue of Hazrat Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, Sayyida Fatima, Sayyidina Ali, Janabi Muhammad Rasulullah, and it was mentioned in Durre Mansur under the verse Fatalaqa Adam bi Rabbihi Kalimat. Here there is a tradition of Ibn Najjar. He is referring to Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas that centuries and centuries passed away, but penitence of Adam Alayhisalam was not accepted. Ultimately, he hit upon the thought that when he was inflated the soul in the body, he saw 5 names written against Arsh-e-Ilahi: Muhammad Sallallahu, Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussain. He said, "O Mawla, I am showing my penitence for having done wrong, but I shall offer the source and virtue of Panjtan Pak, these 5 purified personalities, and I shall expect you to pardon me." So the penitence of Hazrat Adam Alayhisalam was accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person is from the offspring of Adam, he will have to believe that these 5 persons are really purified persons whose virtue was used by the forefather of every human being. If he is excluded from the offspring of Adam, so he cannot be compelled. But being a human being, he would be compelled by the Muslims that your father was in need of the virtue of Hazrat Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain and Sayyida Fatima, Mawla Murtaza and Nabi Karim Raufur Rahim, Muhammad Rasulullah himself. These 5 persons were used as a virtue, by virtue of him, by virtue of them. He offered his penitence and it was accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Hussain was born in Medina Tayyiba and he would play with Nabi Karim al-Islam. Mostly Nabi Karim al-Islam, he would picked him up on the shoulder. One of the companions said, "What a beautiful camel is there. Name al-Jamal." What a beautiful camel is there. Means metaphorically, he used the word of camel for Nabi Karim al-Islam because in Arabia, in Hijaz Sharif, it was a common practice that the people would ride on the back of the camel. So when Nabi Karim al-Islam picked him up on the shoulder, it was very easy for him to say, "Name al-Markab." What a beautiful camel he is. But Nabi Karim al-Islam repaired the sentence. He said, you should say, "Name al-Rakib." The rider is also very nice. As the camel is matchless, the camel driver is also very matchless. When he was declared to be matchless by Nabi Karim alayhi salam himself, there is no need for any other proof. dignify him, because Nabi Karim himself dignified him. So Nabi Karim would say the prayer. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain, one after another, would come to Nabi Karim and they would ride on the back of Nabi Karim while he was prostrating in front of Allah. But Nabi Karim did not disturb them, and he allowed them to do whatever they liked. So their liking was appreciated, was accepted even during the prayer. When a person is doing prayer of Allah, he is not allowed to give the lift to anybody else. But Nabi Karim was competent to say that Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein's interference is not interference. They can interfere, they can interrupt in the prayer, and I accept it. Sometimes Sayyidah Fatima would come and she would try to keep them away. But other than Nabi Karim said, "Oh Fatima, why are you disturbing us? It is my matter and matter of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. You are nobody to interfere with us." Interference by Sayyidah Khatun Jannat was also rejected. So look, the close relation of Hassanain Kariman. Hassan and Hussain collectively are called Hassanain. The relationship of Hassanain to Nabi Karim was so close that Hazrat Sayyidah Fatima was not allowed to intervene them. Intervention by Sayyidah Khatun was also prohibited by Nabi Karim. And Nabi Karim was giving khutbah sharif during the Jummah khutbah. He was sitting on the pulpit, on the top step of his pulpit. All of a sudden, Hassan and Hussain, they were seen coming towards Nabi Karim. They were falling down and standing up. So this practice was repeated by them for many times. But Nabi Karim could not help running towards them. He went there and he picked them up and he made them sit on the top step of Nabi Karim, the pulpit of Nabi Karim. And he said, "Innamal amwal wal awladu fitnatun." The wealth and offspring are a great trial for the human being. As the prophets were promoted as a prophet, Adam ﷺ was made a caliph and declared to be a prophet. But his practice was not there. Without any practice, so such a people are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without their virtues, without their previous good deeds or adventures. But some people are there who are granted the blessing against their virtues. For instance, you are given the status or remuneration against your prayer, against your fasting, against your paying of the charity of zakat. You are given blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and many other things on account of your virtues and your adventures and your good aspect of your life. But Imam Hussain was not in weight of any virtue. Wallahu yakhtas innama yuridullahu liyudhiba ankum ar-risa. So this is a proof that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the wives of the Holy Prophet were deserving person to be given the remuneration for 2 times, double remuneration as compared with the other people. But if they commit any bad thing, any sin, so they would be penalized for 2 times as compared with other people. But when the time of Hassan Hussain and Sayyidah Fatima came, you are not people of remuneration. You are not blessed against your virtues, against your good deeds, but you are being blessed only by choice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. This is a terminology of dialectical theology, that the people are blessed by 2 ways, either against their virtues or just because of choice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of the prophets are from the same community who were chosen by Allah without consideration of their previous practice. This is why this is a belief that if a person believes that such and such person was very pious person. He was promoted as wali, then a revivalist, then became an imam, then became prophet. So this ideology is infidelity. Any respective changes in the status on account of their virtues and promotion to the prophethood. So this idea, this ideology, this concept is infidelity. Prophets are not promoted on account of their virtues, but they are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any consideration. Imam Hussain is from the same class that Imam Hussain was dignified by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and was given a caliber which was not on account of his virtues. Because Quran says, Innama yuridullahu liyudhiba ankum ar-risa. It is only will of Allah which is going to keep the sins away from you and to purify you according to the standard. Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was brought up by Sayyida Fatima, Khatun Jannat. But he was very virtuous because he was nursed in the lap of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the house of Nabi Kareem alayhi salam, where the revelation would be made and all of the virtues would nursed and all of the teachings were communicated to all of the Muslims from that very house. So Imam Hussain was a person who was central idea of Islam. So when Yazid came in power, his father Janabi Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had written a treaty in front of Hazrat Imam Hassan that I would not be entitled to appoint any crown prince. Crown prince were not allowed. But Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu violated that section and he declared his son Yazid, who was a very bad person, gambler, and he was believing that there is no restriction of any marriage with the mother, with the sister, with the daughters. He was legitimatizing the marriage of father with the daughters and brothers with the sisters and with the stepmothers. So much so that Al-Iqdul Farid says that once upon a time he was caught by Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu quite right-handed because he was injuring the chastity of his stepmother. Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu began to scold him, began to tell him off, and he said, I was believing that you are a very brave person and you will do nothing against me, therefore I dared it. So he was the person who destroyed the buildings of Medina Tayyibah, and who was the person he caused the 700 companions of the Holy Prophet to be killed, to be murdered in Medina Tayyibah in the war of Harra. That war is called Jang-e Harra because he sent an army after Karbala Sharif. There are many people, many Maulana who say that Yazid is paradisiacal. He will go to the paradise. Hazrat Allama Taftazani says, whosoever killed Hazrat Imam Hussain is infidel, and whosoever supported the cause of killing Hazrat Imam Hussain is also infidel. And infidel cannot go in the paradise. And again, Allama Taftazani Rahmatullah writes in Shara Aqaid Nasfi, he says that any person who was happy with the murder of Imam Hussain, he is also infidel. He cannot be included in the Muslims. Yazid had promoted the dignity of those people who had committed the martyrdom of Hazrat Imam Hussain. So much so that Ibn Ziyad was given a chance to mix with the family of Yazid inside of the house. When he was a illegitimate son of Abu Sufyan, his mother Sumayya declared that this son is of Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan said, this is not my son. In those days, polyandry, to have more than one husband, more than two husbands, to have more than one husband is called bigamy. To keep two husbands at the same times. But more than two is called polyandry. In those days, polyandry was also prevailing in the country. So according to that rule, Sumayya had committed the adultery with someone, and after that she declared that this son is from Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan totally refused. In the life of Abu Sufyan, it could not be confirmed that he was son of Abu Sufyan radiyallahu ta'ala. Afterwards he embraced Islam. But on account of political necessities, Hazrat Amir Mawi radiyallahu ta'ala accepted him as a brother. But he was really illegitimate son of Sumayya, unlawful son of Sumayya. So such a persons were given a chance to be very near, and he had been a very important person in the executive body of Yazid. And Amr ibn Saad, who was the first person to throw the arrow towards Hazrat Imam Hussain, was given the state of Tehran, which would be called in those days Ray. He was previously governor of Ray, but now he was declared to be a feudal of that area, and that was a feudal area of Amr ibn Saad, who was the first person to throw the arrow towards Imam Hussain. When the fight in Karbala Sharif was started, so he said, "Oh, my army, you should be witness to this fact that I am the first person to throw the arrow towards Imam Hussain." His father was a person who was supporter of cause of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam, and one of the paradisical people, 10 paradisical people from Ashra Mubashara, Saad ibn Waqqas. Amr was son of Saad ibn Abi Waqqas. When the battle of Uhud Sharif started, Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam had no shield. Hazrat Saad ibn Waqqas radiyallahu ta'ala said, "O Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam, don't worry about the shield. My chest is your shield." And he was quite at home in the archery. He began to throw the arrows towards the infidels of Mecca. But all of a sudden, an arrow came and it stuck into his eye socket, and his eyeball came out of his eye socket, and he put the eyeball in front of Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam. "Oh my holy Prophet, my eyeball was evacuated, so please give me the eye." Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam said, "Would you like eye or paradise?" He said, "Oh my holy Prophet, if you give me both of them, so it makes no difference for you. You are competent to give both of the things." Then Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam put back the eyeball in the eye socket, and he said, Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam said, "Which of your eyes was evacuated?" He said, "At the moment I can't differentiate. I am not in a position to differentiate which one was that." Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam said, "The eye which I touched will show you afterwards." Hazrat Saad ibn Waqqas says that my normal eye was looking only in the light, but the eyeball which was touched by the Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam would see everything in the darkness as well. In the and as he grew older, the normal eye was weak, but the eye which was touched by Nabi Kareem Alayhi Salam would go stronger and stronger every day. Amr was son of that father. Look, the changes, political vicissitudes are very strong. This was a political revolution that son of Saad ibn Waqqas went to Yazid, who was gambler, who was adulterer, who was not believing in the truthfulness of Islam. He was believing that marriage of father with a daughter is lawful, marriage of a brother with a sister is lawful, and marriage of a son with the mother is lawful. So this is total infidelity. Hazrat Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti Rahmatullah Ta'ala writes in his Tariqul Khulafa. This book is called Tariqul Khulafa. He said, Ale Madina launched a mutiny against Yazid because he was refusing the Islamic necessities. Therefore, it was lawful for them, it was permissible for them to launch a mutiny against Yazid. And Yazid sent army to Medina Tayyibah, and 3 days were permissible for the armies to do whatever they liked. So they impregnated 1,000 girls of Medina Tayyibah unlawfully, and after due time, the 1,000 girls gave birth to the unlawful sons in Medina Tayyibah at the time of Yazid. When Yazid came in power, he asked all of the governors to take bath on behalf of him. So similar letter went to Medina Tayyibah, and the governor of Medina Tayyibah summoned Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he asked him to perform bath secretly. He said, the people with my caliber, with my status, never do like that. If I agree to perform bath, I shall do it in the broad daylight, but I am not ready to perform bath in loneliness and in privacy. So Imam Hussain went back to home, and he got ready within the night to go to Makkah Sharif. Superficially, it was just a journey, but legally, this was a very legal point, because it was a really referendum. The persons whose agreement was consensus of competent Muslim scholars, according to which the caliphate of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu was legalized. Similarly, the caliphate of Hazrat Umar radiallahu was also legalized, and the caliphate of Hazrat Usman was legalized. He wanted to know the opinion of those competent Muslim scholars, whether he was in the right or Yazid was in the right, because he was not a dictator. He was a Muslim, and he was trying to compromise with the affairs as much as possible according in the light of Kitabullah and Sunnat Rasulullah. He was fully aware of the contents of the Holy Quran and the teachings of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam. He did not want to destroy the state which was established by Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam, which was improved by Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, which was improved by Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, which was improved and extended by Hazrat Usman Ghani radiallahu anhu. That was a very valuable thing, and it was not deserving to be destroyed or to be ruined for personal will. Therefore, Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu wanted to go to Mecca Sharif, because it was 27th of Rajab Sharif, and month of Ramadan was also very near, and the days of Hajj Sharif pilgrim were also very near, and all of the competent Muslim scholars would come to visit Mecca Sharif to perform Hajj, to perform pilgrim. So therefore he wanted to go there, because in those days there was no newspaper, no television, no radio, no telephone. So therefore it was very difficult for him to contact all of the competent Muslim scholars. But on account of the season of Hajj, they were expected to come there, and it was possible for him to consult all of them. So he went there. After many days' journey, he went to Mecca Sharif, and he stayed there Shaban, Ramadan, Shawwal, Zilqada, and up to the 8th of Zilhajjah. But the night he left Medina Tayyibah was really very awful and very sorrowful, because firstly he went to the shrine of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam and hugged the shrine of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam and said, "Oh, my grandfather, you know that I am Hussain. I have been playing on your shoulder, on your back, and I would sleep in your lap. And I was very near to you. Mostly I would sleep with you. It was my right and Hassan's right to sleep with you. No one else was allowed to sleep with you. We are the people who are familiar with your aspect, with your bed, with your room. And these are rooms more than paradise for me. But now I have to leave Medina Tayyiba on account of your mission. But the total environment of Medina Tayyiba are asking Hazrat Imam Hussain, "O Imam Hussain, your grandfather was elevated for the ascension on 27th of Rajab from Mecca. He went to above the throne of Allah, and he made journey to the paradise as well, to the hell as well, and he checked all of the army of the angels. He looked at the soul who were in the purgatory alam arwah, purgatory. He checked all of the universe in that night. But now, on the same day, you are going to leave Medina Tayyiba. But you should believe that you are also going to be ascended. You are going to be dignified. But the destination of Imam Nabi Kareem was Arshe Ilahi. But your destination is the point of the lance. And your head would be put on the top of the lance. And at that time, you would be duty bound to announce the truth. In those days, Shastra Basri and Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala, Hazrat Abu Hurairah, according to the record maintained by Bukhari, he says, "I know many things, but I don't declare, but I don't expose, because I am afraid of being killed. I would be killed. Kutiya balumi, inni akhastu vi'aine mir Rasul. I have got 2 utensils full of the meanings, full of the knowledge. One of them I am throwing in front of you, and the other one I am not going to disclose, because if I disclose it, I would be killed." So on account of fear of being killed, he concealed it, he kept it secret. Hazrat Shastra Basri Rahmatullah Alayh mostly disconnects the tradition. This is called irsal. He would give the lecture, and he was explaining the tradition of Nabi Kareem Rasam, and he would say, Nabi Kareem Rasam said like that, Nabi Kareem Rasam appreciated like that, Nabi Kareem Rasam liked like that. But he would not report the person who has reported the matter to him. This disconnection is called irsal. Ahadith-e mursala, marasil-e Shastra Basri are very good. The total traditionalists are of opinion that the marasil of Hazrat Shastra Basri are acceptable, because once upon a time his students and companions and disciples asked him, "Why are you disconnecting the tradition? Why don't you mention the name of person from whom you listen the tradition? You directly say that Nabi Kareem said like that. Were you present at the time of Nabi Kareem? When you did not find the time of Nabi Kareem, why don't you mention the person from whom you listened?" He said, "I am the student of the virtuous people, and I never commit a mistake. I never defraud the community, and I never deceive the Muslims." So he avoided. His policy was evasive. But at some times, the companions and disciples of Shastra Basri besieged him, and they asked him to tell the truth. Why are you avoiding the name of that person from whom you listened the tradition? He said, "I listened all of these traditions from Ali Murtaza." Then they said, "Why don't you mention the name of Ali Murtaza?" He said, "This is time of Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Hajjaj bin Yusuf is very cruel person. Very cruel person. He was enemy of Ahl Bayt Rasul, and whosoever would say the name of Ahl Bayt Rasul, he would kill him. So I am afraid of my life. I think that Hajjaj bin Yusuf will kill me. On account of this fear, I conceal the fact." But Imam Hussain radiyallahu anhu was asked by Nabi Kareem, "O Imam Hussain, these people are holding the secret holding the facts, holding the truth because of fear of their life. They are running the risk of their death. Therefore, they are concealing the facts. And when your head would be cut off and would be put on the top of the lance, even then you are not allowed to keep secret. You will have to announce the truth. So this is why Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu recited the Holy Quran on the top of the peak of, on the point of the lance in Damascus. When a person was reciting, Am khasibta anna uskhabil kafi wa rakim kanu min ayatina abaja. Do you believe that? Do you guess that? The story of Ashab Kahf was very, very curious, and no other thing in the world more curious than the story of Ashab Kahf. When Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu was passing by those people, and the reciter recited the verse of the Holy Quran, Am khasibta anna ashab al-kafi wa rakim kanu min ayatina ajaba. Imam Hussain said, I was playing on the shoulder of Muhammad Mustafa Alayhisalam, and all of the companions would kiss the soul of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam, would kiss the shoes of Muhammad Mustafa Alayhisalam, and would kiss the hoofs of the horse of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam. But I am the person who was sucking the tongue of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam as well. Therefore, I shall declare the truth on the top of the lance. So this was the statement of the environment of Medina Tayyibah. When Imam Hussain was going to leave Medina Tayyibah, he hugged the shrine of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam and said, "Oh my holy Prophet, I was not ready to leave Medina Tayyibah, even if I am being killed. But when the mission of yours was in the danger, I was not ready to endanger your mission. So I shall endanger my life, and I shall sacrifice myself and my darling Ali Asghar in my lap, and my young sons Hazrat Ali Akbar, and young and beautiful man of my family, Imam Qasim, the son of Hazrat Imam Hassan. I shall sacrifice all of them. I shall sacrifice my property, my luggage, my house, and my domestic necessities. I shall sacrifice all of them I have at the moment. But I am not ready to sacrifice your mission. I shall try to preserve your mission with the sacrificing of my total family, my total belongings. Then Imam Hussain started his journey from Medina Tayyibah up to Mecca. So these months of the year were passed by Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu in Mecca Sharif, so much so that the time of performance of pilgrimage came there, and the total jurists of Muslims, the total traditionalists and other pious persons who were very responsible Muslims, very staunch Muslims, when they came there, Hazrat Imam Hussain consulted them for decision whether I should obey the order of Yazid, or I should launch a mutiny against Yazid. So this was a justification by Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu, that all of the Muslims were of the opinion that such a bad person is not allowed to come after to follow you, and you are not at any cost, you are not allowed to follow him, because his infidelity is commonly known by the common Muslims. So such a person cannot be appointed as a caliph, and you are completely prohibited to follow him. Then Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu happened to meet with the people of Kufa, and they gave him many letters who suggested to Hazrat Imam Hussain to come to Kufa, because they promised that they will follow him and they will perform bath on the hand of Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu, and they will support the cause and mission of Ali Bayt Rasul sallallahu. So therefore Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu sent his cognate. Cognate means a cousin who is directly joining in the grandfather. Such a cousins are called cognate. he sent a cognate Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil. Aqil was elder brother of Hazrat Haydar Karrar, and his son was Muslim. Aqil had slept at some times at the time of caliphate of Hazrat Haydar Karrar, and he was bribed by Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. He demanded the money from Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. He said that, you know that I am suffering the starvation every day. I have got no money. He said, the money in Baitul Mal, the National Bank of Islam, that is called Baitul Mal, there is a lot of money, you should give it to me. He said, this is not the property of my father which is to be distributed among the offspring. No, I am not allowed to utilize. This is misappropriation. The society believes me to be trustee. When all of the things are trusted with me, I am not allowed to misuse them. He said, if you are so pious person, I shall go to your opposition, and if I suggest to them 100,000 dirham, so they will give me the 150,000, inshallah ta'ala. He said, if you can easily bribe, you should go there. I am not responsible for this one on the judgment day. I am responsible for the proper and accurate usage of Baitul Mal. He went there. He contacted Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. He asked him to give him 100,000 dirham. He gave 150,000. 150,000 dirham instead of 100,000. So Aqil, when he was bribed, he could not participate in the funeral prayer of Hazrat Haydar Karrar. So when a person sells oneself, so he cannot join the previous status, cannot regain. Personality can be sold only for one time. The people who sold themselves for certain purposes, they could not regain their previous status. But Hazrat Muslim tried to recover, to make up the deficiency committed by Aqil. Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu sent Muslim to Kufa just to know the situation of Kufa. When he went there, all of the persons who were supporting the cause of Ahl Bayt Rasul, they gathered there and they performed Bayt with Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil in the number of 12,000. So Hazrat Muslim wrote a letter to Hazrat Imam Hussain. He said that the affairs of Kufa are very normal. They are very suitable for our program. Therefore, you should come quickly without any hesitation. Hazrat Imam Hussain received the letter of Imam Muslim, but he was not aware what was going to him in Kufa. When Hazrat Imam Muslim bin Aqil was there was a person who was governor of Kufa Sharif, and he was very polite to Ahl Bayt Rasul, and his behavior was very nice and very polite to the family of the Prophet. So this complaint was made to Yazid, and he changed the governorship of that area. He was Noman bin Bashir. The previous governor was Noman bin Bashir. He was very believing person in Hazrat Ali Sher Khuda radiallahu anhu. Therefore, he did not do anything wrong. But the person who can victimize Ahl Bayt Rasul was required by Yazid. Therefore, he called Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. I have already told you that Ziyad was illegitimate son of Abu Sufyan, unlawful son. So such a community, the person who tries to commit the wrongdoing or any misbehavior, so a righteous son cannot do it. Therefore, illegitimate son is required to do like that. Since Yazid was in favor of victimizing Ahl Bayt Rasul and crushing them, therefore the real son of real father could not do it. Therefore, a total lineage who were really illegitimate son of their fathers such a person was mobilized, and they were sent there. The new governor was Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. And in those days, it was a common rumor that Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu is coming from Medina Tayyibah, and they were very excitedly waiting for the arrival of Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu. Whenever anybody would come there, they were expecting him to be Imam Hussain. And when Yazid appointed Ubaidullah bin Ziyad as a governor from Basra, he was transferred from Basra to Kufa, where Ali Bayt Rasul was expected to gather. So he wore the dress like Hijazi people, like Arabian people, because that area was Persian speaker. Iraq was people of Persian speakers. Basra and Kufa, these were two colonies which were established by Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. When he conquered Baghdad and Persia, Hazrat Sa'd ibn Waqqas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the area in charge, the commander-in-chief of that army which was fighting against the Persia, and Persia was conquered. And in those days, these were two deserts, Basra and Kufa. So that land was distributed among the generals, and they built up their houses there. So this was a new colony. So Kufa was a colony, Basra was also a colony, which was populated by Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu in the governorship of Hazrat Sa'd ibn Waqqas. So all of a sudden, Ubaidullah bin Ziyad came there, and he disguised himself in the dress of Saudian people. So just to give the impression that Imam Hussain, I am Imam Hussain. And directly went to the rest out of Kufa, and he stayed there. He resided there, and he summoned all of the chiefs of Kufa, and some of them he killed at the spot, and some of them were bribed by him. And when this rumor was broken, this news was broken in the different areas of Kufa, all of the persons who had performed bath with Hazrat Imam Muslim, they broke their bath with Imam Muslim, and then fight was started with Hazrat Imam Muslim. He had two sons with him, without their mother, and they were separated from each other. As long as he had a sword, he fought very successfully against the Kufan people and against the Yazidan people, but his sons was separated from him when a person tried to kill them. They said, "Bole badbakht utna jafa ke liye. Bole badbakht na utna jafa ke liye. Chhod de bakhsh de Mustafa ke liye." They said that we are small children, we are not fighting, so therefore you should not fight against us. We are armless, we are underage, we are not in a position to come in contest with you. Therefore, please forgive us just for sake of Allah. But he was so cruel that he could not consider their request. He said, "You should give us a chance of performance of ablution. We want to perform ablution because this is a reasonable time for the prayer. Our father have taught us to do the prayer at the accurate time." So, bole badbakht na utna na zalim jafa ke liye, chhod de bakhsh de Mustafa ke liye. If you have determined to kill us, so let us do the ablution. And when we are going to prostrate in front of Allah, when we both are in the same prostration, at that time you should kill us, so that our death, our martyrdom should be committed in the case of the prayer. Look the conscientiousness of Ali Bayt Rasul. They are very conscientious. They know their duty. They are very abiding by the duties and the orders and precept of Nabi Kareem Alayhisalam. They are practicing the precept of the Holy Prophet up to the last breath of their life. Then Imam Hussain left Mecca Sharif But at that time it was 8th day of Zil Hajjah, when the people would go from Mecca Sharif to Mina for the sacrifice, and were going to Arafat to perform the customs of the rites of the pilgrimage. At that time, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were saying, "O Imam Hussain, here people are going to Mina Sharif, and you are going to Karbala Sharif." And people would sacrifice their cows, their buffaloes, their camels, but you would sacrifice your darling Ali Asghar and young Imam Ali Akbar and young Imam Qasim, and you would sacrifice all of the belongings of yourself. And here the people will see the scene of the sacrifices. They would be wriggling in the valley of Mina Sharif, but I will see your sacrifices wriggling on the sand of Karbala Sharif. And here the people will go between Safa and Marwa. They will do sa'i. They will run between these two hills. But you will make your sa'i from here up to Karbala Sharif. So this is another form of the pilgrimage. The people are going on the other pilgrimage, and you are going to the other pilgrimage. Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala got ready to go there, and all of the women were with Imam Hussain. At the time of departure from Medina Tayyibah, he wanted to leave Sayyida Shahrbano, Sayyida Zainab. But they said, "O Imam Hussain, why are you leaving us behind you? We shall accompany you." He said, I am a traveler, and I would be a victim of the Yazidan people, and you would be dishonored, and you would be disrespected. The sacrilege would be committed against you, and every type of blasphemy would be committed against you. Then they said, "O Imam Hussain, we are not more respectable than you, and we shall accompany you." Imam Hussain pitched the tent in the desert of Karbala Sharif. Karbala has got 4 names: Karbala, Taf, Maria, Nineveh. That is a desert out of Kufa Sharif, here on the bank of the river Euphrates. And surveillance was put from 8, 9 and 10. These 3 days, all of Ahl Bayt Rasul were completely thirsty. Even the sucking baby and the young people and the animals, everyone was thirsty. And the water carrier of Ahl Bayt Rasul was only Hazrat Abbas Salamdar. Hazrat Adre Karar had 4 sons in addition to Hazrat Imam Hussain, who were martyred in Karbala Sharif. Abbas Salamdar, Abdullah, Usman and Umar. And this record was maintained by Shiaism as well. Hayatul Qulub by Mullah Bakar Majlisi, he counts the name of the martyrs of Karbala Sharif. He writes these names: Usman, Umar and Abu Bakr. So this is a habit of human being, that he does not put the name of enemy to his offspring. When Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu put the name of Umar, Abu Bakr and Usman, it means that Hazrat Adre Karar had a love for them. This is why he put the name of Abu Bakr and Umar and Usman to his sons. They were sons of Ummul Banin, the wife of Hazrat Adre Karar, Sher Khuda radiallahu ta'ala. So it was 8th day of month of Muharram Sharif. And Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu said, a small ditch should be dug out around the tent of Ahl Bayt Rasul, and it should be filled with the fire, because when I am fighting against my enemy will come from the backside, and they would try to dishonor the respectable ladies of Ahl Bayt Rasul. Therefore, fire was put in in the ditches. Then Hazrat Imam Hussain radiallahu anhu held a meeting on the 9th day of Muharram Sharif. It was the 10th day was going to appear in the morning. This was the night of 10th day of Muharram. Imam Hussain said, "Oh Sayyida Zainab, I shall request you to leave me alone here and go away along with Sharbano." There was a mountain with the name of Lala'ana. Lala'ana is a mountain nearby Karbala Sharif. And after that, Kasr-e the old capital of Iranian people, the Persian Empire, the capital of Persian Empire was there. That is called Kasr-e just after Koh Lala'ana. Hazrat Imam Hussain suggested to Sayyida Zainab, "Oh Sayyida Zainab, I would like you to catch the hand of Sharbano and go on this side, because the cognate of Hazrat Sayyida Sharbano are alive up to now. They will protect you against the enemies, and you would be rescued from being dishonored, and your scarf would be withdrawn, and your obscenity would be committed by the enemies, and they will slash, they will extort the jewelry of your ears, your arms. So therefore I shall request you to leave my tent in the darkness of night and save your lives." Sayyida Zainab said, "O Imam Hussain, I am your sister. The sister will come after us, and they will learn a lesson from our life. They will achieve the moral from our character. I shall establish a character which is as noble as the name of Muhammad Mustafa Alayhisalam. We are family of the Holy Prophet. I will never let anybody to make a blame to the nobility of Ali Bayt Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We are noble people. The total nobility is with you. And I shall send my 2 sons, Aun and Muhammad, before you, because you are my brother. I shall show that sisters are so sincere to their brothers that they can sacrifice their own sons for the sake of the brother." Sayyida Zainab was a sister of Imam Hussain, and Zainab was sister of Joseph as well. The sister of Joseph was also named Zainab. When Imam Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ left his home, she was asleep. She had a dream of the wolves attacking Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ. But this is a long story. He was thrown in the well, and he was taken out by the traders, and he was communicated to the market of Egypt, and he was sold in Egypt, and he got the kingdom in that country. And after 84 years of separation, Jacob, along with other sons and along with Sayyida Zainab, the sister of Joseph, they met in Egypt, and congratulation was made and offered for many times to them. But Sayyida Zainab was such a lucky person that she sacrificed her brother in the scorching sand of Karbala Mualla, and she did not hesitate, and she did not avoid even a single inch. She said that I shall sacrifice my dear sons, On and Muhammad, before you. Your sons and you yourself will go afterwards. Firstly, I shall send my sons, On and Muhammad. So this is a day of learning the lesson. Achieve the morals. That sisters should be so sincere that they should be able to sacrifice whatever they have. Hazrat Sayyida Sharbano, Nabi Karim Hazrat Imam Hussain said, "Oh Sayyida Sharbano, if you leave this place in the darkness, they will not chase you up. They will not follow you, because they are in search of mine. I am here. When they find me here, a dead body, so they will not go in search of you." Hazrat Sayyida Sharbano said, "I believe that you are son of a prophet. I am not a son of prophet, but I am not proletariat. I am not mean by nature. I am daughter of granddaughter of Noshirwan, the righteous and more accurate king of Persia. My grandfather's name is very famous among the society. I don't want to cause notoriety to the name of my forefathers, and I don't like to be ashamed in front of Sayyidah Fatima on the judgment day. So Hazrat Imam Hussain said, what will you do? She said, when they kill you, I shall fall on your body. When they try to run the arse. Now, I think the time has finished now. So the story of Imam Hussain could not be finished. Inshallah, in very near future, we are going to hold a meeting in English language in our Darul Ulum. If anybody likes to listen the complete story of Karbala Sharif, so I shall try my best to complete the subject in the nearest future. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ الْكَرِيمِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ بِرَحْمَتِكَ يَا